Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We are here for a weekly update where we tell you what we did each day of the week, little tiny blurb, and then we end the video by answering a question. So, this is Saturday. And Saturday's been fun because yesterday we had a freaking blizzard. It was actually pretty bad. We had roads shut down, we had 30-car pileups. It wasn't that much fun. You could not see very far that way at all because it was so intense. It's all cleared up now. The plows have been down the roads, so we're good there. Our plows are out pretty quick. They were actually out last night clearing the roads. Most of the roads were reopened about 3 hours after the blizzard officially ended. We cleared the driveway like 96 times. I swear, honestly, when you're getting that kind of weather, sometimes it's just better to go out and move the snow and then just come out and move the snow again. It just, let's be honest, it was bad and we didn't want to have to clear the snow in one big chunk. So that was our Saturday, was cleaning up, moving the snow. We did get the driveway. Look how clean the driveway is. We did it because it was horrific. Like you couldn't see that line of trees at all when it was at its worst, but the storm ended and we cleaned up. The yard looks pretty good. We cleared the paths for where we need to walk to get to the animals, and the roads are clear, so we are able to start moving around again, which is good because frankly I don't like being snowed in. Anyway, that's what went on Saturday. Let's see what Sunday has in store. Well, welcome to Sunday. It's freaking cold. So after our major blizzard on Friday, on Saturday the temperatures started to plunge and it was about 30 below yesterday. Now it's 40 below. It's cold. Today and tomorrow are going to be freakishly cold and I'm so over it. Here's Shadowfax. He's waiting for his hay. We're going to load up the hay feeder inside the barn because it's going to be cold again. So cold. This isn't fun. I can hear the goat inside the barn wanting her hay. And I think the ducks are outside because they're stupid. They're also fine. They're fine. They're getting their water. So the ducks are fine. The rabbits are fine. It's the humans. 40 below isn't fun for anybody. The animals have plenty of food, plenty of bedding, and nice thick coats. The humans, we're not meant for this weather. And you can actually see Arwen's been out already. Arwen, even in this temp, is out. So she's fine. She's fine. Because she's been out and I hear her having a tantrum. Here's Wildfire coming for a visit. The cats are fine. Everyone's fine in the 40 below. It's the humans. The humans hate this weather so much. So, I'm going to go hide in the house after we get the horses hay and tuck everyone in for bed and make sure the ducks have plenty of water because they need it. Other than that, we are all going to hide from 40 below because that's all you can do when it gets this cold is hide. You make sure your animals are safe and then you hide. Anyway, we'll see what Monday has in store. Welcome to Monday. It was a little bit of an eventful day. First of all, it's what we like to call frickin' cold. It was real feel of minus 52 in the middle of the night. It was not. We're not even talking about that. It's just, we don't want to talk about that. Okay? It's horrible. But we're here with vodka because we had a little incursion today. A coyote incursion. And I'm going to show you a picture really quick right now of what vodka looked like when he came in from this incursion. You'll notice his leg and his face. That's not his blood. He's okay. See, this guy is fine. Okay? He's absolutely fine. But early this morning, there was a little incursion and he had to get rid of the coyotes. And I know that disturbs some people. So that's why I only put the picture up momentarily. I know it's disturbing, but that's literally his job. Okay? She was there too, but her job, hi sweetie, Ooh, your fur is cold from the outside. But her job is mainly to warn us, to tell us that there's coyotes. His job is to get rid of them. And he did that like a champ. He's a pro. So I know it's disturbing, hence the reason I only put the picture up momentarily. But that's his job. His job is to protect his ducks, protect his goat. And his goat was wandering around the yard at that point. If he hadn't been there, she very well could have been breakfast. And we don't want that. His job is to look after his goat and his horse and everyone else and his family. And he did that. He's a champ. He's in here warming up. It's freaking cold. Again, we're going to have another nasty night. There was no school today. It was literally that cold. They couldn't, nice pose. They, couldn't have school today because it was just too cold to run the buses. So nobody went to school. Very cold. Very cold, but very proud dog. He is a good boy. Okay? He did well. So, I know it's not ideal. And I know a lot of people are upset when there's a livestock guardian dog who has to actually do his job. And yes, we respect wildlife. Know that wildlife can't eat our chickens. Okay? So, he did the job he is born and bred to do. So that's what happened here on Monday. It was exciting. It's supposed to warm up on Tuesday. And by warm up, I mean it'll only be like minus 30? Minus 25? Which is, believe it or not, warm for January. So we'll see you on Tuesday. Well, it's Tuesday and it's happening again. We're at the start of another blizzard, and this isn't fun at all. So this is Tuesday evening, right before the sun starts setting, and it's drifting in the driveway, which is not very much fun. And out there you can't see. It's not so bad out there, but that's more protected. Out there, once you get out of the trees, it's hard to see. I'm getting hit in the face by ice. That's fun. So this is excellent, excellent, excellent. Somebody asked me the other day, why is there a cord plugged into the car? That's a block heater. If you don't know what a block heater is, you live too far south. This is a block heater. Block heater means basically it's so cold that if you don't plug your car in, your car's not going to start. Because it's, not only are we having a blizzard, but it's 20 below. So at least it's not 40 below, because that sucked and I'm so done with 40 below. It's not 40 below, but it is 20 below. And I don't like 20 below at all. There's DK. The cats are fine. But I don't like 20 below. I prefer it to 40 below, I guess, but it's not fun. The animals are okay with it. They are less affected than we are. So when you are worried about your animals, if you do have them buckled down in the snow and the wind, you're fine. Okay? They're fine. Like the rabbits are even outside right now, which is excellent. But yeah, we're in for a horrific evening. Yes, DK. Exactly. Horrific evening. So we're just making sure the animals, Tristan's in the barn right now, making sure all the animals are battened down for the evening because we're having another blizzard. So, what are you going to do? At least it's not as bad as last week. You know, it is snowing. I don't want it to snow. I would like winter to be over now. And it's still January. Hopefully Wednesday is a little nicer. Welcome to Wednesday. It was supposed to warm up. It didn't warm up. It's 30 below and I'm salty about it. It was supposed to warm up. It's not warm. It's so freaking cold. And I know we're all facing this, whether you live up in Canada or whether you live down in Texas. You are facing some pretty nasty weather. He's leaving. So, I know we're all going through this. Ducks are in here. But, frankly, I'm sick of the cold. I'm sick of the cold. We'll see if it warms up on Thursday. I doubt it. But, you know, maybe it won't be so flippin' cold tomorrow. But they've been saying it's going to warm up for 3 days, and it hasn't yet. So, what can you do? Well, it's Thursday night. And it's been kind of a busy day. It did sort of warm up. It is 20 below instead of 40 and 30 below. And I know 20 below still sounds cold. But when you've been sitting at 30 below and 40 below for the better part of a week and a half, you're happy with 20 below. It is supposed to warm up more, you know, get even just shy of freezing by the weekend. That could be fantastic. Right now it's not there, but we're hoping. So today, because it did sort of start warming up, it's really windy right now, so it's not warm, but, you know, it's not 40 below. But it started warming up, so we were working on cleaning some of the pens because it did warm up. It is so late already that our decorations come on. They are solar triggered. So when the sun goes down, hi Vaughn, when the sun goes down, they come on, and that's how late it is. It is pizza making night here on the farm. So that's what's happening in the house. And out here is the dogs are fighting. Not real fighting, but mostly it's been a day of try to get some of the pens cleaned up because February is coming. And in February, we do get even nastier weather. It's horrific. So we're trying to make sure things are as cleaned up as we can possibly get them in the temperatures we have so that we can function a little bit better in February when nothing's functioning at all. February sucks. Anyway, that's Thursday. Pizza, dogs, cleaning. That's been our Thursday. Well, it's Friday and it snowed again. It's actually still snowing. But the wind died down, so we didn't have an actual blizzard this morning, but we got snow again. It's annoying, but it's warmed up. It's significantly warmer. It is just below freezing, which is fantastic. But, I mean, the price we pay for that is now it's going to snow. So we're going to get a bunch of snow while it's, you know, warm. And Tristan's got buckets. He's doing animal water for the animals because they're bums. But the question I was going to answer today, somebody asked me on Facebook, actually. And the question that I thought I would answer is actually a really important one. Because it was about, is the livestock, if you have livestock, you have deadstock thing. We've all heard it. Okay, it's actually a really common saying among hobby farmers. And the specific question was, isn't if you have livestock, you have deadstock, kind of a cop-out? Isn't it kind of an explanation for death you should have prevented? And the answer is yes and no. So it is not common to lose a whack ton of animals at a time. And the other part of this question that I was asked is by somebody else, so two different people asked a similar question, is what is a normal rate of animals passing away on the farm? How much is normal? And I can give you a number, and I'm going to, a rough number. I can give you a number, but before I do that, I want to talk about the exceptions to the number. We're just checking on the rabbits. They're actually all looking good. Deli's fur is growing back. She made a nest for her and all the weirdos down in the den. So her fur is growing back. She pulled it all out and made a little nest for everybody down inside. Because she's a mama, even though she doesn't have babies. She's a mama. But anyway, so let's talk about, boys are good. Let's talk about basically the exceptions to if it's livestock, it's deadstock, is it normal? What are the exceptions to it's not normal? So things that are normal. It is normal if you have a bunch of elderly animals. There's vodka. Whiskey's over here. Tequila is off in the bush. But it's actually fairly normal. We haven't shoveled this yet, really. But it's normal to lose animals that are elderly. So if you have, pick an animal, a bunch of goats, a bunch of chickens that are getting up there in age, it's normal for you to lose a bunch of them. That happened to us with our very first chicken flock, which we don't have on video because I wasn't filming then. But our very first chicken flock, we lost them all kind of at the same time because we got them all at the same time. We kind of got our starter flock and they were all about the same age. And then they started to pass away because they got really, really old. And we're like, hey, dang, what's happening? And then we're like, oh, how old is Sam? Right? And then we're like, oh, Sam's not exactly young. And so Sam passed away, and so did the others of the similar age. Not all at once, but over a period of time. That's normal. Something else that is normal is if you take in a bunch of animals, Chef X is waiting for his food. If you take in a bunch of animals that are unwell, so let's say you take in a bunch of animals from a rescue and you know they have health problems, or maybe you didn't know they had health problems, but they did. That happens. Losing animals in that case is also not unusual. Okay? That happens. So, I hear a turkey. That happens. Let's go check on the ducks. So that happened to us with our Gandalf. He was a goat. He had actually CHF, chronic heart failure. We knew he wasn't long for this world. Like we knew. But we took him in anyway. So it happens. Another thing that can happen that hasn't happened to us is random disease. So the one that's really circulating right now is avian flu. But there are others. If you have rabbits, it might be RHDV. But if you end up with that in your flock or your herd, you end up with something like that, then what can end up happening is you can lose quite a few. Like RHDV is really, really dangerous with rabbits. It can really decimate your herd. Okay, you can lose a lot of bunnies to it. And it's not good. But if that kind of thing happens, that's kind of an exception. It's not super common for that kind of thing to happen. And usually there's not a lot you could have done. Usually they contract it from, if you've got chickens, they might have contracted avian flu from a wild goose. Your rabbits might get RHDV from a wild rabbit. That's not uncommon. It's not super common, but it's not uncommon. So that's also not really your fault. And that's not really counted in the what's normal for livestock versus deadstock and what's not normal. So, that doesn't really count. The other, duck, 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 duck. Yes, ladies. Duck, 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 duck. The other thing that doesn't really count sometimes is if you have a predator come in and decimate your flock. This happens. It's devastating, and I hate that it happens, but for a lot of us, it does happen. Okay? You can take all the precautions in the world, and then a predator gets in a way you didn't think they'd get in, and then boom, you've lost a bunch. If you take steps to correct that, so you figure out why the animal got in, and you correct how it got in, and you prevent that from happening again, I wouldn't count that either when you're counting your number of critters that you've lost. So now that we've said those 4 exceptions, okay, those 4 exceptions are old age, illness, disease from outside sources that you couldn't necessarily control, and predators that you couldn't necessarily control. Those are your 4 exceptions. What's a normal number of loss on the farm? And this is a general number, so there's plus or minus, but around 10% would be considered normal. Okay? 10% is if you have 10 goats and they were all fairly young and they were all in pretty good health, then it's possible, we're going to take a look at the cats, but it's possible you're going to lose one. It's possible you're going to lose 10%. Hi, wildfire, sweetie. 10% happens. And that 10% might count if you have a litter of bunnies. Maybe 3-4 babies don't survive. It happens. If you have kittens, same thing. It might count just a goat that drops dead and you didn't know why. Hello, ladies. This is the ladies' barn. Whiskey's here. Gwen, Bowser, Wildfire. I think Jake and DK are still outside. Let's see if we can find them. I think I saw Jake and DK already. Oh, there's Jake. And DK I did see out by the rabbits. But roughly 10% is kind of normal. Okay? Because you can't prevent everything. You do not know if one of those goats that you got that seem really healthy is actually ill. You don't know that. Okay? Nobody knows that because they're goats. So unless you had a full workup done on the goats before you brought them home, you don't know. And nobody does that. Of course nobody does that. So 10% is around normal. And for people who think when we say when you've got livestock, you've got deadstock, well, that's just a cop-out. The thing about that is generally that's coming from people who have a relatively small number of animals. So it's really easy to say, well, I've had 3 dogs in my life and I didn't lose any one of them from anything other than old age. That's excellent. Frankly, I haven't lost a dog from anything other than old age. However, I haven't had that many dogs. If I start counting up my dogs, I had, let me list them, Misty, Darby, Reese. None of them died young. Then my son had Brownie. And then my son had Whiskey. Those 2 aren't mine technically, but they were my son's, and he was underage, so I guess. And then now we've got Tequila and Vodka. So right now we have Whiskey, Tequila, and Vodka. And the dogs before that, they didn't die at a year old. So I haven't really had that many dogs in my entire life. Okay, and I'm not exactly young. I haven't had that many dogs. So with that number of dogs, which is basically 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dogs, less than 10, I actually wouldn't expect that I would have lost any. I wouldn't expect that at all because I haven't had that many dogs. But we've had hundreds of chickens. If you count the chicks we hatched, which you should, if you count the chicks we hatched, and the ducks we've hatched, and the turkeys we've hatched, and the chickens we've bought, and the ducks that have come to live with us, and if we add up everything, all of the quail we've had in our entire life, the quail are good, by the way, I can see them up in the upper part. If I add up all the birds we've had, and then I subtract the ones that died young, if I were to do the math, I would assume, I'm just thinking, it's hard to do the math without actually looking at my records, but we're probably like, long division, 7-8% of the birds that we've had, high key, but it's 7 or 8% of the hi baby, of the birds we've had have possibly passed at a too young of an age. That's not a lot. So you're talking out of 100 chickens, 7 chickens. That's relatively minor. I know it doesn't sound minor. It's like, well, that's 7 chickens. Okay, we've had hundreds of birds. So if out of 100 birds you only lost 7, well, that's kind of normal. If you had 100 dogs, you would have lost a couple from things you couldn't predict. Okay, doggos. They're funny. All right. Sorry. My phone hit the snow because I got hit by a dog. Yeah, because I got hit by a dog. I got hit by a dog. Because I got dogs running around me. I didn't fall. I just got hit by a dog. But, so when you have someone criticizing the livestock versus deadstock thing, that we all say, when someone criticizes that, it's almost always someone who's never had a significant number of animals at the same time. We do. And we don't even have that many. Okay? There are farms where they have 500 head of cattle. Okay, well, 500 head of cattle, if 50 of them pass away from random things, it might be a dairy farm, If 50 of them pass away, that sounds like a really big number. And it's probably not 50. It's probably significantly lower than that. It's probably like 20, to be honest. But if that many passed away, that's actually normal. Okay? I know it doesn't sound normal. It's sometimes hard to explain it to people who do not have a bunch of animals. But we have, for example, just using us as an example, we've had Shadowfax for years. We've had Arwen since she was 3 weeks old. All of the birds in there, we hatched. Okay? The rabbits here, with a couple of exceptions, most of them were born here. But they weren't born here yesterday. So they're not exactly young. Here's Jake. So we have quite a few animals and they live quite a long time. So when we have one die, so I can give an example of Frizzle. We lost one chicken in the fall. Okay, one chicken, Frizzle. She wasn't sold. She passed away. And that happens because it's not going to not happen. It happens with humans too. Okay, and 100% happens with humans too. And it sucks, but it is what it is. And there's nothing we can do about it, really. Now, what happens if your losses are significantly higher than that? Let's say instead of 10%, you're looking at 20%. You're looking at 25%. Maybe it's getting to 30%. I'm not even just talking about death. If every time you turn around, there is some kind of crisis, someone is sick, someone is injured, somebody died, right? If one day your livestock guardian dies, and then 3 days later, 2 goats die, and then 2 days after that, 10 chickens are dead, and then after that, your cow is sick, then you need to take a look at your animal husbandry practices. Because there is a point at which it's not normal. Okay? Not every single death on a farm is normal. And especially when it comes to something like your livestock dogs, they should have about the same health as other dogs. If you're losing a bunch of them, or your cats, then you're doing something. There's DK. But then you're doing something, or you're not doing something that you should be doing. Okay, so there is a limit. So, yes, when we say when you have livestock, you have deadstock, we mean that when you have 100 chickens, inevitably some are going to pass away, and sometimes those reasons are going to be unexplainable. Okay? However, if you have a lot of them, romping in the snow. If you have a lot of animals passing away or getting sick or anything like that, then it's not normal anymore. Okay? At that point, it's simply not normal. And you shouldn't pretend like it is normal. Because it is not common to lose 2 livestock guardians and 3 goats and a cow and a bunch of chickens and a bunch of rabbits. It's not normal to lose that many. So it's 100% on you if you're losing that many. There's something wrong with your animal husbandry practices. So are some people using that livestock versus deadstock thing as a cop-out? Yes. Some people will tell you, well, they just have no idea what it's like to be on a farm. Okay, I know what it's like to be on a farm. It's not normal. Okay, so if someone, including yourself, is losing a high percentage of animals, okay, we'll go look at vodka. But if someone is losing a high percentage of animals, it is not normal for that to be happening. So if you're significantly over that 10% benchmark, and really, realistically, you should be under it. But if they're way over it, like we're not just talking 12%, we're talking 15, 20, 25. That's not normal. So kind of crunch the numbers. Spend a minute calculating how many animals you've lost for unexplainable reasons. Right? I'm not talking about old age or your rabbit's got our DHV. I'm not talking about that. Okay? I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is animals that are unexplainably dying. They're at a fairly young age. They seem to be in good health. Even if they weren't necessarily in good health, if they're getting sick and then dying or just getting sick all the time, there's something up with your management practices. Okay? Now, you don't have to be perfect. Heaven knows we're not. Half the time, our yard is a mess. There's like junk piles over there. There's junk pile over there. There's junk pile behind those trees that you can't see because I hit it. And there's junk pile over here. We're not perfect. But you should be looking after those animals. Okay? 100%. You should be looking after those animals. That's your job. You chose to take them in. That's your job. So, just be aware that there is kind of a benchmark number, and you shouldn't be losing significantly more animals than that. Okay? It's a hard discussion to have sometimes. Okay, it's difficult, but you shouldn't be losing 20 rabbits for no good reason. All right? You just shouldn't be. So, Tequila's going over there to give the neighbor's dog what for. Neighbor's dog's coming too close. That happens. Anyway, that is the question I wanted to answer this week. If you have questions you would like me to answer either about myself or hobby farming or the specific animals we have, drop a comment either on YouTube or find me on Facebook. It doesn't really matter. I see all the comments even if I don't reply. So take a look at this video and some of my others, and if you have any questions, let me know. That is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. We'll see you tomorrow.